So Project Hayat, the National Suicide Prevention Strategy work group, right? So I want to get to that, right? But I wanted to ask the two of you on this. I don't know whether you know Professor Jonathan Haidt. He's a psychologist based in the US, and he has a theory that maybe I don't know whether the two of you agree with, but I am quite attracted to the idea of how people today have become more fragile, right? Millennials and Gen Zs, partly because of overparenting. So partly, of course, social media. I think that's a huge one, but partly because of overparenting, and there are many reasons why people overparent and they are overprotective nowadays. But the biggest reason is structural because people have fewer children, therefore they're more protective. Do you think that is one of the root causes where we are protecting children so much at such an early age, such that any exposure to difficulties, they start to crumble? I mean, I've mentioned so many times before, everybody gets a gold medal. I am thoroughly against that. Sports day, everybody gets a gold medal. But
did you want a gold medal too, Walid? Is that why?
No. See, that's always the easy way out, right? That's the easy way to dismiss an important point. Oh, did you want to do that? Did you want? And then you didn't get it right. When actually, wouldn't you say that does something to? In fact, my son got a gold medal, and I told his school that shouldn't happen, right? So it's the opposite of what you say. But wouldn't that be a possible explanation for fragility, you think?
I mean, it's a great question.
Oh.
I actually am quite opposed to people calling the new generation a strawberry generation, because I think it overlooks and dismisses that this generation each new generation is dealing with a lot more stress than the older generation, as you said, right? The social media, right? And these are new challenges that we don't know how to help the younger generation cope with. So the idea of resilience actually came from out of the study of children who were exposed to really threatening circumstances, right? So you can think about orphanages, you can think about impoverished circumstances, and some of these kids were able to develop within normal range. We're not thinking like top A scorers that go to super. All schools are good schools, guys, but better schools, right? We're just thinking like normal development. And so we're really thinking that resiliency is are you able to cope from really difficult situations, not regular situations, right? So we have to understand that this younger generation, I think, they're faced with stresses that even I don't quite understand, and I sometimes I'm like, how do I help you? How do I equip you
Right.
to be able to handle the stress that I myself have never encountered at so young an age, at 10 years old, being exposed to so many voices, so many criticisms, everyone's eyes on you. And I can say, just ignore life, it's okay with. But they can't, so I think one of the things is, yes, maybe not fragility in so much as we're not doing a great job equipping our younger generation to face these stresses. And so the stresses are never ending, is every day. And I think we have to really kind of think of, instead of dismissing it as like, oh, this is a fragile generation, is think, okay, how do we help this generation face stresses that are so new, like even AI, right?
So how do we do that?
Controversies for that. Well, I only raised the problem of it. If I had the answer, I'll be MP. But I think I think we have to look into it, because there was this incident of bullying where young women, AI, constructed images of them that they were supposed to be nude were then spread around town, and they were
Yeah.
never nude. They were
Right.
these AI constructed images. So we've never encountered that level of stress before. So I don't want to say fragility because I'm also aware of the self-fulfilling prophecy, right? And so I think we can't see that generation as fragile.
Right. Rayner? Yeah.
Well, so thanks for covering all the clinical, theoretical, perspectives. Like I can speak from the perspective of a overprotected son, growing up. And I love my parents to bits, right? Like this is like I wouldn't say overprotected, I'm like, overloved. I'm very privileged to have that. But I think one thing that in spite of that, I also grew up with a lot of, like challenges, right? Because there are so many things that happen, growing up that parents don't know about. Increasingly, even for this generation, with more stuff that's going online,
Of course.
there's a whole
Of course.
different life that your children might have
Exactly.
that you know nothing about. And I think right now, if we think about the solutions, it's also probably not just equipping parents with it, but equipping children and youth directly, with some of these skills. Therefore, the schools and like social, circles become super important. I think also in terms of like, I think we also probably need like youth voices involved, right? Into like, really like asking, what do they need and what helps for them in this whole equation. So I think maybe not giving parents too much credit for, like shaping children. I think like society and even more so technology nowadays, like you mentioned, like playing a huge role in that whole equation. Yeah.
But the technology part we cannot really control, right? Like because the big tech
But
will
you
do
can
all...
equip.
Right.
Yes,
Exactly.
you can equip. I think the sort of literacy among the young is really important.
Right.
I had a thought, and I'll be quick about that one, because I don't think giving medals actually improves self-esteem. Right? I mean, if it did, well, I mean, we would have all kids will feel so worthy and worthwhile about themselves,
Right.
and we know that that's not true. It maybe actually is not doing much. Again, this is one of the good intentions thing, right?
Right.
What were all these medals trying to do? Was it trying to help this child or help children feel good about themselves? And we know that isn't working. So yes, let's not give everyone medals if it's not working, but let's help everyone develop a healthy self-esteem.
Right.
I think that's a positive.
Yeah. So that's brilliant, right? So I'm always thinking like as a parent, where is that line, right? So because you wanna equip them with enough self-esteem, but you don't want them to be over-validated, right? And you don't want to underpraise, you don't want to overpraise, and there's always that line where it's very difficult, So I always am unaware of which side of the line that I'm on. So I mean, but I just thought that Jonathan Haidt's research was something that really spoke to me a bit. And I agree. I think it's really about equipping our children and youths and younger people with the right tools.